Hello, my name is Maria and welcome back to my channel. So for today's yoga flow, I decided to flow through a sequence into center splits. We'll be stretching out our legs, our inner thighs, our hamstrings, our quads. So grab your mat and let's get started. So today we're going to start in child's pose. We are going to do a wide leg child's pose. So I want you to open up your legs as wide as your mat, kind of in a V shape. And as you inhale and exhale, as you move your chest towards the mat, extending your arms out in front of you, placing your forehead on the mat, just getting comfortable. You may open your hips as wide as you would like. Since we are flowing through into the splits, the wider the better, because you will be stretching your hips more. So just breathe here for a bit in this pose. And just a few more breaths. And remember to stay breathing at your normal breathing pattern. Just inhale and exhale. Sinking deeper into your hips. And then one big exhale. And then inhale. As you bring yourself to tabletop position, keeping your legs wide, we are going to flow through cat and cow. So I want you to inhale and lift your chest and your gaze up towards the sky, dropping your belly down towards the mat. And then exhale as you round your back, coming into cat pose, tucking in your tailbone. And then again, repeat. Inhale, come into cow pose. And then exhale as you come into cat. And then flow through the sequence at your own pace. And one more time, inhale and exhale. Return to tabletop position. We're going to come down into child's pose. You don't need to bring your forehead down to the mat, so you're just gonna fall back into your heels, and then you're gonna lift yourself back up. We're just actively stretching and opening up, making sure we're warming up. You don't want to flow in through your splits without warming up, because you will feel a lot of pain in your muscles. And keep your back flat. And then a couple more times. So sink into your heels, rise back up, and sink one more time, and come up. So I want you to bring your legs closer together so you're in a regular tabletop position. Your wrists are under your shoulders and your knees are now under your hips. We're going to bring our leg out to the side and we're going to do some hip circles. So let's starting with our left side. You're going to bring your knee to your elbow, open it up into fire hydrant, bring it back, and then lower it back again. So we're going to repeat this in a circular manner, just going around at your own pace. And then repeat going the opposite direction. So you're bringing it back, opening your leg into fire hydrant, and then bringing it towards your elbow and back. So you're just repeating this in a circular direction. And a couple more circles. And return to tabletop position. We are going to repeat this now on our other leg. So you're going to bring your knee into your elbow, open to fire hydrant, bring it back and lower. Just repeating this again in a circular direction at your own pace. And remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath as you do this move. And lower it back down. We're going to switch our direction. So bring it up, open to fire hydrant, and close your leg. And lower back down into tabletop position. We're going to go up now into our downward dog. So tuck your toes, kind of spread your hands out a little bit further apart. I like to open mine facing towards the corners of the mat. It'll help my pose and my posture with my shoulders, so that your shoulders are open wide. And downward dog. So tuck your toes and lift your hips up towards the sky, stretching out, walking out your calves, feeling this nice stretch. Making sure your shoulders are not collapsing into your pose. And then from here you can squat in this pose for an extra stretch. I like to do body waves as well. Kind of getting my body moving. So just do what is comfortable for you just to get your body moving and warmed up. And then from here, we're going to inhale and we're going to lift our right leg up towards the sky into three-legged dog. And then we're going to bend at our knee for a stacked three-legged dog. This is an additional stretch for our hip. You will feel this stretch in your left leg because now all of your weight is on one leg. Make sure to keep your body straight, keeping your shoulders broad and open. And straighten out your leg and bring it back into a downward dog. And then we're going to repeat with our left leg. So inhale and lift it up towards the sky for a three-legged dog. And then bend at your knee. Now you're in a stacked three-legged dog. And extend and bring it down. You can now step, walk, or jump. We're gonna go into a standing forward fold. So you can just walk and inhale and exhale as you close and fold down into your legs towards the mat, bringing your head and your gaze down. Make sure your core is engaged and your lower back is flat, rounding at your upper back. And then here, start extending and bending your knee so your core and your stomach is kind of laying on your legs. If flexibility allows you, of course, you may just have your knees slightly bent and you're not fully there yet. That is completely okay. You can use blocks here for assistance to help you, but make sure your lower back is straight and you're not using any force in your lower back. So just straighten and bend your knee. And also make sure your shoulders are not tense. they're not rising towards your ears. And then inhale as you come to halfway lift. So your back is flat, your hands on your shins. And exhale as you fold back down into a forward fold. Grab the opposite sides of your elbows into ragdoll. Sway side to side so you're feeling heavy in your upper body. You're feeling this nice stretch in the back of your legs. And then release. We're going to come on our heels. And then we're going to float onto our tippy toes, still maintaining our standing forward fold pose. So just feeling this nice stretch, getting our entire body and our legs warmed up. And just a couple more times on your heels, on your tippy toes, on your heels and on your tippy toes. And then return to a flat foot. We're going to inhale and come up to mountain pose. Bring your hands up towards the sky. You can intertwine your fingers or you can have your palms together. And then bring your hands to heart center. And then bring your hands out. We're going to inhale and exhale as you fold back into standing forward fold. From here, keep your right foot at the top of the mat. We're going to bring our left foot back into a runner's lunge. So just do a nice big step on your toes into a runner's lunge, keeping your hands on both sides of your right foot for assistance in your stance. So your left leg is straight, your knees are pointing down towards the mat, and your front leg knee is bent at a 90-degree angle. We're going to alternate between a runner's lunge and pyramid pose. So you may need to adjust your stance for this as you flow through. So as you're coming into pyramid, you're extending your front leg and bringing your back leg's heel down towards the mat. So we're getting a nice hip flexor stretch in our runner's lunge on our left side, and we're getting a nice hamstring stretch on our right leg in pyramid pose. So we're going to do this for a few breaths. So exhale as you fall back into pyramid pose. Inhale as you return back to runner's lunge. And a couple more times. Runner's lunge, and then we're going to end up back in pyramid pose. So I want you to stop right here. We're going to bring our right hand to the inside of our right foot. We're going to adjust our back leg to open up our toes to the long side of our mat. And we're going to open up our body and our chest to the left side. So we're coming into triangle pose. You may fist the floor if needed for any wrist issues that you may have. You can also use a block for balance by your foot here. And then inhale as you come up into warrior two. So you're bending your right knee into a 90-degree angle, keeping your left leg back nice and straight. Bringing your hands out to both of your sides, one in front and one facing towards the back. This is really great for your front leg inner thigh stretch. Make sure your leg is rotating towards the outside. It is not collapsing inwards. So feel this nice stretch going along your inner thigh right here. And then from here, exhale as you shift down into extended side angle. So you're still bending your leg at a 90-degree angle, feeling that nice stretch in your inner thigh. And in this pose, you are hitting a little bit of your outside hip as well. And then start to turn down towards the mat. Bring your left hand back down next to your foot. And then we're going to come back into a runner's lunge. So you're back again where we started, and then start to lower your left knee down to the mat. We're going to alternate now between a low lunge and a half split. So you're shifting your hips back towards your heels. Keep your foot extended and flexed. So you're feeling that nice stretch going along the back side of your leg. And then we're just going to alternate again. Remember, you can alternate at your own pace, perhaps holding for a little bit longer in one pose, or if you feel like you have a really good stretched out hamstring, you can hold your half split a little less. So it is up to you how long you would like to hold. Okay, and then from here, return back to a low lunge. We're going to bring both of our hands on the inside of our foot, and we're going to rotate into a skandasana. So it's a one-legged squat. So tuck your left foot, toes, and start to rotate towards your long side of the mat, opening up towards the front. So you're bending and squatting on your right leg, and then your left leg is extended out. Keep your foot flexed, so you're getting this nice inside stretch. And then bring your hands to heart center, so your elbow is pressing into your knee to help you open up your hip a little bit more. You are welcome to bring your hands out in front of you for any balance support. If you are on the ball of your foot in this pose and you are not able to press your full flat foot into the mat, that is perfectly fine. And then from here, bring your hands down for a little bit of support. We're going to come up into goddess pose. So shift your weight towards the middle. So both of your knees now are bent. Your toes are facing towards the corners of the mat, and you are in goddess pose. Bring your hands up and open up into goddess pose. We're going to be here for a few breaths. Again, make sure your hips are rotating out. So you're feeling this nice stretch in your inner thighs. And then from here, come back into skandasana on our left leg this time. So you're slowly sinking down towards the mat, squatting into your left side, straightening out your right leg, making sure your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, and then bring your hands to heart center as your elbow is pressing into your knee, opening it up even further for that nice stretch. And then from here, we're gonna shift back up into goddess pose. I want to actively move a little bit and stretch our legs. So you're kind of keeping your back flat. Here I will turn a little bit so you could see. So you're in goddess pose here. Your back is flat, and we're gonna kind of move side to side. You're gonna feel this little burn in your leg. It's a nice inner thigh workout, but we're just gonna actively move a little bit, warming up our muscles so we don't pull any muscles or injure anything once we begin to go down into our splits. So we're just gonna do a few of these, and then remember to keep your back flat and breathe as you move through this pose. And just a few more before we go back onto our left side into skandasana and then turn into a runner's lunge. And let's sink back into our skandasana on our left side. Bring your hands onto both sides of your foot. We're going to rotate and come up back into runner's lunge. So we're going to repeat our sequence on our opposite side this time now. So from here, we're going to be in runner's lunge, and then we're going to extend our left foot and shift into pyramid. So we're bringing our right heel down towards the mat, feeling a nice hamstring stretch down the back of our left leg now. And just alternate. Remember to breathe. So as you come into runner's lunge, you're inhaling. And exhale as you push back into pyramid pose. And you can fist the floor if you feel any pressure on your wrists. And then I also want you to remember, as you are in your lunge pose, make sure you're actively keeping your foot straight and it's rotating towards the outside. You're not collapsing inwards with your legs. So even as we're feeling a nice hip flexor stretch, you're still actively stretching your inner thighs. And then shift into pyramid. We're going to come into triangle pose. So adjust your back foot, open it up towards the long side of the mat, and then bring your left hand down by the side of your left foot. You can also fist the floor, and then open up your chest out to the right side, lifting your gaze and your arm up towards the sky. So you're feeling this nice stretch down the side of your hip. Inhale as you start to bend your left knee and come up into warrior two. You may need to adjust your stance as well if you need to. So you're bending into your left knee, making sure your leg is rotating outward. It's parallel to the mat. And then open up your hands and your chest. Your chest is facing your right side. Your hand is pointing out towards your front and then towards the back. And then exhale as you move into an extended side angle. So you're shifting back down, bringing your hand by your foot, bringing your arm up towards the sky. And then you're still maintaining a bend in your left knee, actively feeling that nice deep stretch, and perhaps burn from holding your pose until like a nice bent and squat. Down towards the mat. We're gonna bring our hands on both sides of our foot, and then we're gonna adjust, come back into runner's lunge, and then lower your right knee down to the mat. So now you are in a low lunge, pressing the top of your foot into the mat. And we're going to alternate between a low lunge and a half split. So you're shifting your hips back into your heels, flexing your foot as you do so. So you're feeling this nice stretch in your hamstring. And then remember to alternate and breathe. So as you shift back into your low lunge, you're inhaling. And as you're shifting into your half split, exhale. And then one more time, shifting back into a half split, coming up into your low lunge. So now I want you to press your hands into the mat, tuck your right foot, and we're going to bring our left foot back, and then you're going to lower yourself slowly onto your belly. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So you're laying flat on your belly, pressing your quads and the top of your feet into the mat. Place your forearms out in front of you. So your elbows are bent at a 90-degree angle, and you're lifting your chest up and your gaze is forward. We're going to do a Sphinx, and then we're going to bring our right foot out to the side into a half frog. So we're starting to actively stretch our inner thighs even more. prepping ourselves for frog pose. So you're bringing out your knee, bending it at a 90-degree angle out by your side. Making sure your pelvis is pressed into the mat. So you're feeling a stretch along your inner thigh and the inside of your hip. We're going to release, bring your leg back, extend it out, press your quad and the top of your foot into the mat. We're going to repeat the same thing on our left side this time. So you're going to bring out your knee, bend it at a 90-degree angle so that you're in half frog pose. Still in your Sphinx. Bring your leg back. So you're back in Sphinx pose. You're going to lower your chest down towards the mat. Bring your hands by your shoulders. And you're going to press up. We're going to move down into child's pose. Kind of just resetting ourselves before we come into seated poses to finish off our stretches before we move into center splits. And lift yourself and just sit down in a nice comfortable position. We're going to come into butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together and keep your back straight. Perhaps if you don't feel too flexible here in your inner thigh area, you can have two blocks to assist you here right under your knees. You can also sit on a block. It'll help you alleviate any pain that you have. And remember, don't push yourself past the point of pain. Make sure you are staying comfortable in your stretches, and eventually you will be able to get there as long as you keep practicing the routine. And then from here, we're going to inhale, and then we're going to bend forward, kind of walking out with our hands, keeping our back flat and making sure we're hinging at our hips into a butterfly fold. So you're going to feel this nice stretch along the inner thighs, so your forehead can rest on the mat. You can also have a block here or a pillow, so kind of helping you, placing it right here so that you could rest your forehead. If possible, you can bring it all the way down to the ground and just extend your hands out in front of you. And just breathe for a few seconds, a few breaths to hold this pose. And inhale as you slowly lift. We're going to walk with our hands towards our right side. So you're just slowly moving. We're going to have a bit of a more intense stretch in our left hip, feeling this nice stretch along our left side as well. So go as far as comfortable for you to feel nice and stretched out and flexible in the pose. as you rise back again, we're gonna walk past our middle side to our left side this time. So walking with your fingertips, placing them down as far as you feel comfortable for you and no pain. You're gonna inhale and exhale as you bring your forehead down back towards the mat, resting in the stretch for a few breaths. And inhale, we're gonna walk back to our front, then we're gonna slowly walk back up with our hands, keeping our back flat, coming back up. And then I want you to open up your legs. We're gonna open into a nice wide-legged stretch. So this is not a split. A lot of people think that this is your split, but we are just going to be stretching out our legs. So open them as far as you would like. They don't have to be too much. We're just gonna stretch out again. So walk forward. You can rest on your forearms like you did in your Sphinx pose, or you can bring them fully out, bringing your chest down towards the mat or towards the ground, kind of adjusting how comfortable you are, making sure you're not feeling any pain. And we're gonna hold this stretch for a few breaths. And release. We're gonna come back up, and then one last stretch that we're gonna do before we go down into our center splits will be frog pose. Just kind of slowly bring your feet around. We're gonna come back into child's pose, into tabletop position. So you're going to slowly come down, opening up your hips, slowly coming down onto your forearms. So as we did in Sphinx pose, where we had one side of our leg bent at a 90-degree angle, this time you have both of your legs bent at a 90-degree angle. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can have pillows placed under your legs, have something soft, because pressing your inner knees into the floor could be kind of painful. Or you could do this on your long side of the mat. It will take any pressure on your knees. So you're just sinking back into your hips. It's a great hip opener, prepping you for your center splits. Slowly release, come back down. I want to do one more stretch with the frog pose. So you're on your belly, pressing your pelvis into the mat. I want you to bring the soles of your feet together, so you're kind of like in a diamond pose with your feet. And then I want you to lift with your hands, lift your chest up, so you're kind of in a frog pose. This is going to be a really intense stretch in your inner thighs, so you may not be able to go as far high up. So you can also bring your hands kind of further out, like you're in seal pose, and slowly walk up, feeling to the point where it feels comfortable and not painful. And holding that stretch for a few breaths, making sure you're getting that nice stretch. back down towards the mat. You can start to extend your legs, kind of shake them out a little bit to relax. And we're going to come up onto our side and we're going to flow into our center splits. So you can do this on your mat, but it might be a little bit hard because you're not going to be able to slide as much, so you can come onto the floor if needed. So you're going to slowly walk into your splits so your knees are in line with your hips and your knees are kind of rotating a little bit out. You're not facing all the way up towards the sky. And you have your center splits. And just sit in your splits for a little bit at a time. The recommended stretching time for a pose is about 20 to 30 seconds. So remember to practice each day and you will be able to comfortably flow into your splits. And make sure you're properly warmed up. So as you saw in the sequence, we did a lot of warm-upping and stretches to be able to flow into our splits without any injuries, and we have our warm muscles. Thank you so much for joining me in my yoga flow today into center splits. I hope you enjoyed it, so just remember, keep practicing, and I hope to see you back on the mat again soon. Bye.